Okay, welcome everybody. Yeah, Lynn, I know. Very professional. I was just getting some live stream hints from Desert. Welcome to the Forbidden History Chronicles again. We're doing our best to stream every night, and if that's not possible, it will be every other night. So we're going to be getting into this as often as possible. I'm just going to read the introduction, and then we'll get into it. Signs of the times. In essence, Desert discusses the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from the very beginning of time, who they are and how they have founded all the first great civilizations that are found all around the world, about who the giants really were and the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity V-manners, the earth-based misnomered UFOs which are man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind, and all instituted through the three main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. Their cyber code has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology, and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. Desert can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical phoenix. He discusses the ultimate in mind control and ancient art and the financial control, the secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations, and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV, and print media, while he can see, read, and interpret most all of it. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective constructive labour, for experimentation, and in the end, they intend to kill us all. They have given us full notice of what they are doing and what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the old world order from the beginning of time. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it. But they are cleverly leaving us in the dark, hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed, and above ground, so that when it comes, the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weaknesses and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemtrails to fluoride in the water to tainted vaccines to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all by the clever means of deception, because we, most all, are their cattle, chattel, property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate, but they are all through with us now. It is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. And that was written by Dezert-Owl, our special guest for this evening, morning, wherever you are, and every other evening, morning on this live stream.
You don't want anybody to be mourning, Ninja. What's the matter with you?
Sorry. I apologise.
Right?
No, yeah, that's the only time I forget about that, when I'm thinking of time zones, like good morning, good evening, good night, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I apologise.
Good day, good night, right?
Yes. Okay. It doesn't sound the same though as the catchphrase. Anyway.
Hard one to get away from. That's the mind control.
Yeah. Okay. Sound is 10. Sound check on Desert as well. Is Desert a 10 as well? I hope so.
Yeah, we need to be balanced, same levels. And I know I still sound tinny, but that's something we'll deal with.
Yeah. I'll get a new microphone, Desert.
Okay.
I will. Yeah, because I want you to sound like you as well. But yeah, you do sound better. Anyway, we are doing this stream. It was originally going to be just a chat with Desert on my channel, like a spin-off from the program on his channel called the Forbidden History Series. And Desert's computer died. So we've moved over to this channel for now until Desert can get his PC fixed or get a new one. So any donations, we'll get this done out of the way now. Any donations are welcome to help Desert get back online. You can go to PayPal through www.therealpublicradio.net, all one word. That's www.therealpublicradio.net. All the information is...
Most people would miss the word so it is real. Thank you, Mitch.
Okay. Anyway, thank you.
PayPal button there will direct people to the PayPal account.
Yeah.
Donation. And then NinjaCat, you let her know, send her a copy of your donation. She'll get you the documents since I'm not online right now, so she can get you a copy of whatever you want, the Real Da Vinci Code, the Etymological Dictionary, or the Book of Wisdom, the best book of wisdom ever written by Joseph of Arimathea, the great uncle of Yeshua, and or the sample of the original gospel with a dictionary, the latest draft of the dictionary, 100 pages, 8.5 by 11, with lots of graphics and the code, revealing the code of the of our code world. So and of course the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, the original, what I call the original thought that was breathed into Adam, breathed into the tribe of Adam. So yeah, that's I appreciate anybody's support out there, certainly.
Excellent. Thank you, Desert. Yeah, all the information, contact details are in the description under the video, except for Desert's phone number. Normally it would be a call-in program, but I don't have the technology for that. But any queries regarding donations or anything like that, or Desert, are you just happy for someone to call if they have any questions? You there?
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking to your audience.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to give out your phone number, and I'm just saying regarding any queries about donations and things like that. And are you happy for anyone to call if they have questions? Like questions?
Right. Well, we certainly can't call on this phone at this time during the program for a question because it would drop our connection. I don't know how to lead someone in. It may be possible. We'll have to do a test on the phone with that. But in the meantime, they can call after the programming if they had a comment or a question, or if they had an extra computer they wanted to donate. That would be fantastic. The phone number here, it's in Ohio, but it's a Wisconsin phone number, 608-567-8255. 608-566-7295. 608-566-7295. Thank you.
No worries, Desert. Thank you. +1 if you're international at the start of that number. I have to say that because I had tried so many things to get through to you the first time, Desert, on that number. Yeah, and I think you even called. I can't even think of what they're called now. You called the assistance. You called for assistance to ask what to put at the start at one stage. Anyway, that joke kind of fell flat. Yeah, so we'll go back to where we were at in the signs of the times, and we're at communications, Desert. We touched on that at the end of the last program, but not very much. Yeah.
Right. Well, we're winding down, but I think that I mentioned there was a world conglomeration that's really under one umbrella. The Vatican basically claims everything, but they do it for the unseen hand who runs the world. But communications, the term editor, ed in the Indo-Germanic ed means to remove. It's not like add, ad, which is add, which means to add something. But the editor, he removes. The etymology there is like the ed-itor, the power of the eye's removal, something like that. But the ed means remove, so it's a negative. And so when you got education, then it's not what they told you, but it's what they removed from your curriculum. That's your education, you see, and what they didn't tell you. So they, of course, in book publishing, control what they in the contracts with the major publishing companies, maintain the right to edit, to remove words that they don't want or things that they don't want in your document, in your book. So that's why of course, I'm doing the translation project on my own, trying to self-publish because we have to maintain control over the truth and over the words, the words. So, but one of the key elements with their control of communications, of course, is they got every one of us in a cell. Cell is also something in prison and in jail, and so we're already in a cell with our cell phones, and so they've used communications against us to track us, and then also to brainwash us to the repetition. When you hear something over and over and over and over and over, even if it's not true, the majority of the people will actually think it is. I was astonished when I went to the food bank 2 days ago and asked one of the senior gentlemen there, a little younger than me, but figured he should know what's going on. I said, by the way, hey, have you heard about the town of Paradise, California having burnt down? He said, no, I didn't hear about it.
Wow.
And this is a Christian organization. This is a big church here in town, and he wasn't the first one I had asked there, and so basically I was astonished to realize that because communications are so well controlled, they may give you one blip on the mainstream media about the fires, but then immediately divert to how deep the snow was in the Northeast or something like that.
That's exactly what they're doing here. Yeah, it's exactly what they're doing here.
Which creates diversions. They create diversions with so the when we have all the communications we could ever ask for to be informed, but they're relying on somebody else to give them the correct spin rather than people like us. We pursue it through other channels because we know that we're not getting the truth from mainstream, and therefore we pursue it through other good researchers on YouTube or through Google or Facebook friends or whatever, But so it's very tragic to realize that the majority of the people have no idea that mass genocide just occurred in Paradise, California.
Yeah, so it's not that they don't care; it's that they don't know because they don't know where to look for the correct information.
Right, but most of them wouldn't care even if they did know.
Yeah, true.
Because they didn't know. By continual feeding of movies of violence and television of violence and sports of violence. It's all violent, so they accept the violent nature of the world. And of course, war, perpetual war, it's very sad, the state that we're in. You'll be starving to death one day, and people be walking right past you, not looking at you.
Yeah.
That's the state of the homeless man or woman. So it's the most insensitive world we could ever ask for, but it has been that way throughout time in different pockets. There's been good pockets and bad pockets, but the communications that we have are really interesting because we can communicate here from Australia to the U.S. and do a broadcast and to other people in other parts of the world, and this is and actually do it for free, basically, for all practical purposes, and reach out and get to know people that it never was like this before. This is an amazing phenomenon in our modern time, and so we do need to take advantage of it while it's here because we know that this communication will be gone very shortly as well. So that's the tip of it. Of course, communications and the preacher, the Masonic and Jesuit preachers support the big lies because they're in on the Vatican takedown, of our world, and so or if they have their 501c3, they cannot communicate things that they would like to communicate at the pulpit because they went to the beast and got permission to be spiritual. They went to the beast and got permission to be, have a quote unquote church, whatever that means to them. So certainly has nothing to do with true spirituality. That's where they all go pop their heads for 45 minutes every once a week, and then they go out and they don't even know who the people were sitting next to them because it's not a real family. It's just another illusion, and then they go out and do the things that the scriptures say we're not supposed to do, and so it's quite a grand illusion that we have. I think that we may have covered it on communications from that standpoint. We're just doing follow up.
Okay. Well, I'll just pass on a message from Lynn. Neil says hi. He is more vegan than ever. More vegan than ever. I said that wrong.
Lynn is vegan?
Yeah. She says that Neil says hi. He's more vegan than ever.
Oh, Neil, wonderful. I'm glad she got a hold of Neil Price, one of the best criminal defense attorneys in Pennsylvania. A friend I connected her with.
Oh, wow.
He used to produce a program for him called the Courtroom Commander. Price is Right. I called it The Price is Right, because
really,
Neil didn't ask for money, so I could afford him, and no, he's a genius, a real legal scholar, and a friend, a long time friend. So great, good deal. I hope to produce a program again for Neil one day, and so perhaps when we get that ramped up, that might happen. So.
Oh, that's good news.
Next on the itinerary.
That's good news. And just a quick hello to Ascending to Beings. Yep. Good morning from Miami. Ascending to Beings is in Miami.
No mornings, okay? You're really,
G'day from Miami.
Yeah, she's not even being an Aussie anymore. She's now going into a culture.
I was just reading the comment.
You like to be awake.
Desert. I was just reading the comment.
Just to clarify, awake is a funeral. Okay, that's why we don't want to be awake, right?
Yeah. So what about awake? What about awakened? What are we? Is it like enlightened instead of awakened? Is that better?
Correct. Yeah, in fact, the word glory is being used as a code word in our scriptures. If you when you read a lot of your scriptures and it comes to the word glory, just throw in the word enlightened because that's what they stole. They stole the word of the enlightenment from the word the glory is a cover word, but you can see in the word glory it says it's glowing ray. What does glowing ray symbolize but enlightenment, right?
Wow. Wow, does it?
Yeah. So transliterate that when you're reading and you'll get the picture.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
didn't want us to be enlightened.
Wow. That is
To control the scripture.
That is so cool. Commerce is the next one. Just so you know.
Next one?
Commerce.
Commerce. Oh yeah, commerce. Well, commerce is what they care about, because that's what the court system is all about. It's about commerce. It's not about law. If you got the money, then you can go home. If you don't have the money, then you're in trouble. They're going to bond your hide with your birth certificate and put it, which is now a security instrument, and they put it on Wall Street and make $30,000 a month while you sit and rot in a jail cell somewhere. So that's the court system, which is in commerce. But of course, commerce is all they care about in the world. Everybody wants to make as much money as they can. They figure that's the ultimate virtue. The more money you can make, have a house, a couple cars, and all the appliances and all the wonderful toys that they tantalize us with. But commerce was really the first sin of the world in a sense, because we didn't need commerce in order to live. In other words, if we would look at the Native American plains Native American, who they call Indians, but of course they were not. They were slaves of India when they. Well, that's why they were called Indians, for the East India Company. But the plains natives, like the ones who lived in teepees and hunted the buffalo, they didn't have commerce. They all worked together as a family, and some made clothing, some hunted, some fished. Everybody had something they could do to contribute to the community, but they gave. They gave of themselves to every other. They didn't want to take from somebody else. They wanted to give. They were following a pure, absolute spiritual philosophy of serving one another. Not seeing what they could get from one another, but how to serve one another. Totally reverse idea from what commerce is. Commerce is wanting to make for yourself, when in that type of community was wanting to make it for the community, for everybody. And so we get the picture of commerce when they're within the story of Genesis, where we have Lamech, and it said that he had two wives. So one of them was Ada, and one of them was Zillah. Well, let's look at these titles, because Lamech, we can see, it sounds like lame economy, right? Lamech, and Ada and Zillah sounds like buying and selling. Ada for addition, buying, and Zillah for selling.
Yeah.
And he killed something. He killed Cain. He was blind. So Lamech economy. Lamech was blind, and therefore he killed Cain because of a young boy that told him that some stranger was coming around doing harm, but he didn't tell him the truth. And so a lame economy is also supposed to be, commerce is supposed to be based on truth, but what we find out, this whole commercial racket is nothing but a giant Ponzi scheme and a fraud. And in the end, it leaves you empty with all your broken toys and unfulfilled promises, and no opportunity for true fulfillment within spirituality. So commerce is a dead dog. And like Dr. Eugene Schroeder, who discovered the War Emergency Powers Act, back in 1933 when they declared the American people the enemy, he was a veterinarian, and he had a good statement. He said, the people, they're all standing around looking at a dead dog, and you go, somebody comes over to the guy's house and they see a dead dog there and say, "What's that?" He said, "Oh, that's my dog." It's a, really? Okay, yeah. And see, so, but the problem is nobody's ever seen a living dog, so they think the dead dog's the real dog, and don't get that it's dead, you know? And so everything that we see in our world, we think it's legitimate and it's the way it's supposed to be, and yet we've never had anything else to compare with to be sure of that, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So commerce sounds like communism, right?
It does.
Commies.
Yes.
Commerce. So maybe because it's all stacked against you, maybe it's because international Freemasonry is in it for themselves, right? Who owns all those giant skyscrapers like Trump Tower?
Not
Right?
us.
Secret Handshake Club. Do you own a skyscraper, Ninja, by any chance?
No.
Don't have any.
Not that I'm aware of. No. I can go and check. Go and check my back pocket. I don't know. No.
You're breaking up, but you speak up. I'm having trouble hearing you now.
Sorry. No, I don't own a skyscraper.
Okay. So anyway, so we see that barter is a little different, system, because if I've got eggs, and you've got clothing, I can say I'll give you, 24 eggs for a shirt that you just made or something like that.
Yeah.
And that those eggs will feed you for the next month, and your shirt will keep me warm, for a year or a couple of years. And so trading is a little different because, but then what they've done, you see, with the funny money, is they created another illusion, because it would be different if it were backed by gold or silver. Then it would be of a greater intrinsic value, because you're having something that definitely people want. People definitely want gold. They definitely want silver, but instead they monetize the funny money through the birth certificate, so they enslaved our labor, and they put into commercial circulation on each birth certificate that comes into the world around this time about $1.5 million. So each baby that's born puts another $1.5 million into the system, and that's what they estimate the baby will make in its lifetime, perhaps. And so the dollar is not a dollar, because a dollar is a weight measurement. A dollar, it's like, okay, if I said I got 2 quarts, what do you think I got? 2 quarts of what, right?
I don't even know what that is, because that's American.
There's a weight measurement. Quart of honey, a quart of oil, a quart of
okay.
quarts in Australia.
No, we have dollars and cents.
No, a quart is a liquid.
And
a quart. 4 quarts.
No, we have liters.
So you have liters.
And
you have liters down there, right?
Yeah, we have liters, and we have centimeters and.
A quarter.
Sorry.
A quart is a quarter of a volume. In other words, 1 gallon is divided into 4 quarters.
Okay.
And that's a quart. That's called a quart. So the point is, if I had 5 liters, you use liters down there, right?
Yeah.
All right. You'd say 5 liters of what? Right? 5 liters of thin air, 5 liters of milk, 5 liters of oil or gasoline, right?
Yeah.
A liter. All right. But if I say I have 5 liters, you don't know what I've got, right?
No, I don't. No.
Okay. So a dollar is a weight measurement. Ore. You can hear the word ore is there. It's about metal, silver or gold. And if I tell you I got $5, you want to know what kind of dollars. Is it a silver or is it gold or copper, right?
Yeah.
A dollar ore. So the note, the dollar, what we call a dollar, which is not a dollar, it's an illusion. It's just paper. We could call it 1 unit. A 1 is 1 unit, but it's called a note. But a note is a promise to pay. So if you take that note to the bank, you should be able to expect to get what they call a dollar. But they won't never give it to you, because that system disappeared back in the 1930s when they robbed us of all the gold and robbed us of our nation.
Yeah, you know what they've done here? They did it years ago, and I didn't see the point. We don't have dollar notes, $1 notes and $2 notes anymore. They got changed to $1 coins and $2 coins, and they're gold in colour. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know why they did that. It's just extra weight in. Yeah, it's just extra weight to carry around.
Absolutely, yeah. Up in Canada, they created the loonie and the toonie. $1 to $2 ducks. They get their ducks in a row, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah. So anyway, it's a fraudulent money scheme. It's the bankers figured out that they could hand out notes which were equivalent to the value of gold you put in trust with them, but then they realized that they could create more notes for 10 notes, and nobody would know that there's no gold to back it. And so ultimately, the scheme was found out by in different nations of the world, and then the Jews were kicked out. But ultimately, through the Rothschild and with the Vatican working together, then they took over the world commercially. They perfected their art and trade, and so commerce works in tandem with the media. They're all in it together, and go try to how on YouTube the good guys, the people who tell the truth, who really love homeland and country and are trying to wake people up to the poisoning of our world, the destruction of our world. They're not allowed to have commercials. Only the people who want to entertain and give you a good laugh get the commercials.
Yeah.
They can make all the money they want, but the truth tellers are starving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's commerce in a nutshell.
Okay. Because I've never been, like all my life, people have been giving me, like advising me to pursue this and pursue that. Like you're telling me that I've got the brains to do this and do that. I'm smart enough. And it was always encouraging me to do a desk job, like get into the public service or government department, or because at school I was good at maths and believe it or not, English. I had good writing skills back then. I had good speaking skills, and maths I didn't even have to try with maths. And it felt completely wrong, like completely against. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that wasn't it. I knew I didn't want to be pushing papers behind a desk, and I didn't understand a lot of it. That's why it's taken so long for me to get a computer, because technology is just really hard to get my head around, and I've just been putting it off because I don't like technology unless I have to use it. So you just helped me understand some of that. So
all right. Well,
thank you.
The ultimate what do I want to say? Their claim for the ultimate bonus in commerce is then you've got your nest egg, and now you can you're in your golden years, meaning you're 50 or 60 years old, going on 70, and now you can go play golf and be happy and kick your heels up in the sunset. When the truth was you spent your entire the most precious thing you have, which is your time, on chasing a phony dollar, so that you can get material possessions, and in the end go to the grave and never know the truth about transcendence and that you're not a part of this world. The great irony.
Yeah. Well said, Desert. So any more to say on commerce?
I think that was the cap off right there.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
I'm here to take off, I've been pursuing knowledge all this time. It was a trade-off. I could have had a car. I had a house on a lake, but of course, being a political activist, that didn't last too long. With what they did to me on one of their operations, So, but it's okay because I was pursuing the knowledge of our true nature, who we are, where we are, why we are, and when we are. and how do we get back home? Because this is not home. The scriptures tell us we're strangers and that we are foreigners and pilgrims, sojourners on this planet. Sojourners. That's sojourner means star traveler. Soul is star, and journer is journey. So we're star travelers, and people don't get it. They think they're of the world, and that's the illusion. So there's a greater reward. Yeshua said to lay up your treasures in the throne of your Son, in your mind. That's your soul, in your Son, in the throne of the Son. It said heaven, but heaven is a code word. They didn't want us to get the picture that the Son is the logo, the great logo, and the image of our light that we fell from. We fell from the light. It is the point to go back home to, back to the light. And in the metaphor, the Great Spirit rules from the throne of the Son. So we have to realize that you can't serve two, as it said, you can't serve two masters or two owners and mammon, the things of the world. You can only be a servant of Yeshua or the self-ego that wants to have more of this and more of that, and there's no end. We have to do it like the traditional natives did, a sacrifice to serve the people, for the greater good, and like Dane Wiggington does. I don't even think, he never claims to be a Christian or anything, but Dane Wiggington is the ultimate,
his heart's in it. His heart's in it.
Spiritual soul.
Yeah.
He's the heartbeat of the earth. What he does, he's given his life. He's ready to die right now for the cause. Dane Wiggington of geoengineeringwatch.org. Go to his YouTube channel, Dane Wiggington, Wigington, and hear a man of conscience who knew the truth and wouldn't walk away from it or close his eyes, but is on the tip of the needle. And everybody should pray for him because they can't let him talk like this for long. Nobody does a better job of exposing the criminal cartel that is destroying our world with toxins and poisons, and not to mention the falsehood that goes along with it. So it's a big bag.
Yeah. I experienced some of those toxins yesterday, but it's cleared up a bit today. I'm very grateful because I was really feeling it yesterday. Stinging hot eyes, hot nose, and a scratchy throat to the point where my voice would disappear. Yeah, it wasn't very nice. And also, I could not keep my balance. I had to either walk at a decent, regular pace. I couldn't walk slow. If I walked slow, I would fall sideways. Every time I went to stop, because I'm here at home with Mum, not going out or walking very far. Yesterday, it was just around the house and stuff. And every time I went to slow down and stop and go through a doorway or something, I'd overbalance. And it's that stuff in the air.
There was about a month ago here in Ohio. There was a farmer who, I think more like on the western side of Ohio, said a big storm was coming in, and he could smell the toxins in the air, and his eyes were burning, and he had to get in the house.
Yeah.
So they're dumping in the cloud. Best way to do it is when you can't see, because the clouds are there, so you don't know what's above it, and they could be dumping any kind of toxin in those clouds with aircraft, and you wouldn't know it. So so that's our world is going down and in flames, and the only thing we have left is to identify with the true nature of things. One of my all-time quotes when I ended up laying on a concrete slab looking at a concrete ceiling was, once we can begin to know the true nature of things, or comprehend the true nature of things, then we can begin to comprehend that there's nothing really more to complain about. It's coming to know our reality, and forget complaining. Just do what we have to do for our spiritual benefit, for our growth, and to save the lives of our families and those we care about. This is the good news is this is not our world. That's the good news. This world belongs to the darkness.
We're passing through.
Dark,
yeah.
What's called Eden is the atom. It is the sun going back to the light. It's the great mystery. The spirit goes back to the light, and that's what we have to look towards and embrace. And at the end, I'll share that scripture with you. Well, since I'm saying that, let me do it now while I'm on that point, okay? Because I'll show you in the scripture how they hid that light from us, okay? So let me pull my books apart and see if I can't find it here. Okay, if this is the one. Phone book. Okay, it's the other one. I got two Aramaic translations of the scriptures now. This one in particular actually came from Pseudo-Israel and Dezert-Owl, but nonetheless, it's is it this book? Geez, I got places them in. I should have tagged it better. Hang on.
Well, while you're looking, I'll just update you on a couple of the comments. Lynn says we are stardust. I like that one. We are stardust. And Ascending to Being says yes, the UN has approved Agenda 21 for the fires. So. Yeah.
Okay, I found it here. Very good. Yeah, Lynn always has a good comment, and she's up on everything. She's great. And her story was she was flying in an airplane one day, and she saw two suns in the sky at the same time, and that's really where she started watching the sky because she wasn't up on that. And, that's how we met on the YouTube. So
really?
I watch her stuff there.
Really, I didn't know the history there. How you and Lynn met. I know that Lynn's been helping you. Like Lynn was helping you before I came along. So yeah.
So the airline pilot said, "Put away your cameras, everybody. We're going into a little turbulence or something." And she knew that they didn't want them to see take pictures of what was in the sky. So she got a good view. But,
cool.
Anyway, back to the sun. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the sun in the Aramaic, this is Romans. It's the Aramaic Peshitta New Testament. It's the book of Romans. And it's very, they didn't get it because they don't know the code. So they have a lot of good entries on the translation in here, but still, they're not up on a conspiratorial view of history, and that the priesthood has been controlling all of our scriptures. The one who produced this book doesn't even know that the El Strangulo is not the original Aramaic, and thinks it went back to the very time of Mashiach or Christ, but it didn't. It was brought in about 300 plus AD through the Roman Empire and Constantinople. They switched out the original Aramaic for the demonic Strangulo. Sounds like it's demonic and it wants to strangle you, right?
Yeah, it does.
So, they always put it in our face.
Yeah.
Joke.
Yeah.
Like they taught us when we grew up. They said, if you love somebody, you say, "I hate you." I hate you. Oh yeah, I hate you, Ninja. Yes, I love you. Oh, that means I hate you. Okay.
Lovely.
They switch everything around.
Yep.
It's amazing. So that's why we don't want to be awake, right? And
right.
It is written in chapter 9, verse 33 in Romans. Okay, the way it reads in here is, "Behold, I have set in Zion a stone of stumbling and a stone of offense, and he who believes it will not be ashamed." Right? But as soon as I read that last night, I said, "Behold, I have set in Zion," and of course I realized I've already known now that Zion implies the sun. It means the sun. The yon is, yin is near, and yon is yonder. It's far away. See? And so Zayon, Zay, is the prime root of the seed. So it's the seed beyond. Well, what is the seed beyond? It is the seed of light that represents Yeshua, the logo in the sky, the symbol, which is the sun, right? You see it?
I see it. That's
okay.
So cool. Yeah.
So Zion, Z-I-O-N, is world domination for the dark occult. But it's not talking about that Zion. It's about the Zayon, meaning what Yahweh says. I have set the Zayon Zayon, in Zayon, a stone, but it's not a stone because obviously if it's up in the sun, it's not talking about something down on earth like a rock. And then the code, I've known the codes for, as you know, I transliterate the Indo-Germanic roots out of the fake Latin that they gave us, and so stone is two words, star, one. And then you reverse it and you get one star. And so what it really says here is you must behold this, you must see and read it for yourself. You must see and read it for yourself. I have set in Zayon one star of stumbling and one star of an offense. But the eye that can see it will not be ashamed. You see? And you know how they demonize anybody who would look at the sun? They talk about Mithraism or other cultures saying they worship the sun. They didn't. They knew the sun was the great logo and the symbol. That's why the Masons and others try to demonize ancient cultures for worshiping the sun. It never happened. They all knew the sun was the great logo. That's the great fraud and deception that's been going on, you see? So it's an offense. The light, excuse me.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to cough. You got my phone number or something. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay. You all good? You got water? You got water there?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm all choked up here. So the sun is the great logo, and that is what offends the Masons because they love the darkness, right? They love Lucifer, their goddess, who is nothing but an idea. They're in the darkness. It's symbolically the moon in the night. But that's why, you see, when they said to Yeshua at his midnight trial, and they said to him, "Are you the Son of God?" That's not what they said to him. This is what the offense was. They said to him, "Are you the Zay? Are you the seed of the Zam, of the sun? Are you the seed of the sun?" And when he said, "I am," that was a blasphemy because they were all seed of the moon, the seed of the darkness,
wow.
the fall.
Wow.
And that's why he says, I am the only one who has come down from the sun, and I go back to the sun. That's what he's saying in the scriptures. They just use other words.
Yeah.
And but that's the essence of it. It's about the light. Everything came from the light. The sun, gave birth. The mother star gave birth to Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and maybe the bigger ones. But the bigger ones may have come in from the outside. But the smaller planets and all the moons around Jupiter and all those, they came from the sun. The sun is the mother star, and that's why all the planets and moons go around the sun, because it's their mother. They're feeding on the breast of the mother. They can't live without the milk of the mother star, right? They'd be all dead, right? We'd be dead.
Yes.
We feed on our mother every day. She never stops giving her milk. It's the Mare, the Virgin represented the Virgin light. Mary of Magdala represented the whoredom of the darkness that unfolded through creation, you see. And so we have to go back to the Virgin light, and that's what Mary represented. So that's why I said that 7 dark natures were cast out of Mary of Magdala. Magdala means center of idolatry. It's not her last name. Again, they play the code word trick, and we think it's her last name, Mary Magdalene. No, it's of Mary of Magdala, and the center of idolatry. So what was cured from her? The 7 dark natures was time. She went from being bound in the darkness of the 7 days of a week of slavery into the day without end, because the truth is both worlds are here. We can regard time, or we can recognize the fact that we are already in eternity, no matter how you look at it. Time goes on forever, and we can embrace the greater creation or the lesser creation. And she was cured of her deficiency and brought into the higher realm through the immersion, through the waters of purification, the stargate of transcendence.
That's beautiful, Desert, and you just made me think of something that I've been meaning to tell you. Yeah. As you know, and most of my subs, most listeners know, because my life story has been broadcast on your channel pretty much. Anyway, as I've been learning and progressing through this transformation, I noticed something. When you mentioned that Mary was healed, I think, what you said just then. Yeah, you made me think of something. For about the last 15 years, I think, probably about 15 years, I had a mysterious black spot just on my back, just above my hip. And it didn't hurt or anything. It was just there, and it was jet black. People told me, like, that it could have been like from a tick, and a bit of the tick got left in there. Anyway, so it didn't bother me, and it didn't grow any bigger or anything like that. So it wasn't an issue. But somewhere along those years, it got infected, and it was pretty bad, and it was like a real challenge to get under control. And once I got it under control, the black dot came back. And since I've been learning all these things here with your program, the black dot has gone. Like a few weeks ago, I noticed it's just gone, and this is something that's been there for 15 years.
Wow.
And it's gone.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, that you should give thanks, of course, for that, and recognize that Yeshua's great, favor for all. Grace means favor for all, and yeah, that's a beautiful sign, because He will give you signs in small ways first, and then ultimately you can have greater visions and connections. You know, that it unfolds like the Fibonacci sequence, right? You start with 1 and 1, then you go to 2, and then you go to 3, and you go to 5, right? And so it all unfolds. So you have to just get that rhythm and help it to unfold, because you are in full control of that. That's you know. And so real quick, I have 2 more transliterations I wanted to examples I want to give you, because I'm like I say, I'm reading several different translations, not just these 2 most recent Aramaic versions. I've already got Lamsa, about, but I've got these 2 other ones that are have many good examples in it. But at the same time, because these translators don't see the whole picture, don't get the picture of the conspiracy of priesthoods and how the underworld has been controlling all of our publishing, all of our information, and that there's been a disconnect that occurred around 300 AD through the Roman Empire, when they split the empire. What empire is going to split itself? Give me a break. It was a switch out from a political state to a religious state, and they had to do it very cleverly. And then Constantine the Great, who wasn't great, adopts Christianity, but it was Mithraism. They just changed Mithraism into Christianity, but it was all still the same metaphors and symbols and idols and all of that stuff. So that's the only thing that is profoundly unique, where I can take advantage of these other experts, of their lifetime of background study, and review their translations and compare them. The one thing that Yeshua gave me is the code of the, they're all stuck in the Aramaic and the Greek and the Hebrew, but it's the original, which is the Indo-Germanic, which is the original Aramaic, and they're not even talking about it, so they've got no clue as to the relevance of that. To go back to that which is first, the original symbols. Letters are figures for speech, and when we have some basic ones that are codes that don't belong there, and then the other ones, once you got what's left, you know then that these are the prime elements that you build upon. So the code is from the priesthood, and we have to get rid of the false terms like righteousness and blessed, behold, glory. All these words are code words. Heaven, all are code words because they don't want us to know the original meanings, which provides us with a great enlightenment. Yeshua came to bring us the golden age of light, of the truth, of the great enlightenment. What happened to the followers? Once they became followers, didn't they not become lights? Did they not become enlightened and superior to the world, sovereigns on the earth, able to go and be tortured to death and not flinch in the face of it?
Wow. Yeah, sorry, you've got me wowing. It's
That's the truth, right?
yes, I can see that. Like, especially with all my research with the frequencies, like words are very powerful things, and if you're saying the wrong ones, you're putting out the wrong frequency, and all of that. So keep going. Sorry.
So once one has been truly born, second born. Because this is also part of the great mystery that came so clear to me last night. The thing about being born again, the correct terminology is to be second born. Second born, why? Because when we read the stories in our Old Covenant about the patriarchs, the firstborn was always rejected, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The firstborn, right, because like it was Ishmael, which is Ishmael, and he was firstborn, but he was of a slave, so he was rejected, and then it was Isaac, who was Ishaq, and so Isaac was the secondborn through Sarah, even though it was her firstborn, but it was Abraham's secondborn, because Ishmael, the slave, was the firstborn. And then the same with Esau, who was Ashayal. Esau was the firstborn, but Jacob, Jacob got the borrowed game, the blessings and the enlightenment, right, and the inheritance. So if you look at the pattern, this is the key. If you look at patterns, it's the second born. So what were we told? That we have to be second born. We have to die to this world. We have to bury ourselves in the waters of purification, come up in a new vivification in the body of Yeshua, be with him in the grave until he fills us with enlightenment, so that then we can rise from the dead by receiving the great breath of the wind and fire, the Holy Spirit. You see, it's being born a second time. The second born is what we have to be, because the first one is in error. The first one is in the fall, in the darkness. The second one goes into the light. You get the picture?
I get the picture. I do.
All right.
Yeah.
This is relevant truth. This is important because all this story has been so confused and so confounded by babble of phony preachers at their pulpit. All they want to do is pass the hat around twice. I like that one. Okay, you mean you pass it around once and you're going to do it again? Like the people were stupid or something? They didn't know what they wanted to put in the tray? And they pass it. Always at these religious ceremonies, they pass the hat twice. And so I think if they pass it around twice, I'll take somebody out of it.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
But anyway, to get back on point here. So another example of a code, okay? So if you remember, I talked about the terminology pure shelter, and pure shelter being the original term for law. Do you remember hearing that?
Yep. Okay. I do.
And so the pure shelter is the sun at high noon. The sun is always at high noon because our light, the logo, represents Yeshua. So the sun at high noon represents Yeshua and his ability to always come to your aid in a moment when you need him. And it's happened to me more than once. And so sometimes it seems like, you're busy, but at the time you need him, he'll be there if you've been dedicated to him, But so the pure shelter is the original law, because the shell, you can't open a shell. Go get a clam or some sea, anemone in a shell. You can't crack it open with your hands. You got to get a hammer. So the shell is a protector. That's what law was supposed to be, something that protected you to make sure you didn't get harmed.
Yeah.
Agents of the government, But instead now, the law is a wall. So you spell law backwards, it's a wall. It's something to keep you in, right? Or maybe to keep you out or something. We don't know. If you're not an insider, you're an outsider. So the word prophet, of course, is also, as you know, navigator. Navigator is the original word prophet. They want to make a big prophet, of course, so they didn't want us to talk about navigation, star navigation, going back home to the big star, the mother star. So they give us the word prophet. So literally, in Matthew chapter 7, verse 12, it reads like this in the Aramaic, without my transliteration so far. All that you desire that men should do for you, you should also do for them. For this is the law and the prophets. But it shouldn't say the law and the prophets. That's watered down pig Latin. What it should say is, all that you desire that men should do for you, you should also do for them. For this is the pure shelter for all of the true navigators. You see? This is the pure shelter. What is the pure shelter? You serve people. Yeshua serves you. You ignore the people that are suffering and injured in the world, then he's not going to be there for you. That's the pure shelter. That's a contract. That's a give and take. You do what he says to do. You didn't come visit me when you didn't visit the prisoner. You didn't come visit me when you didn't visit the sick. So that's the pure shelter. It's a law. That's the original law. When you surrender to the truth, and so we're not prophets, we're navigators. We're learning how to read the star message so that we can go back home, to navigate back home through the darkness. Isn't that what they do at night on a ship? They navigate in the darkness, following the stars back home.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So we're all navigators in that sense, even though the enlightenment is greater for some than it is for others. And so others may rely on the navigator, like a Moses or
we each have our different role. Yeah.
Right. So again, I'll read it one more time, because we could also hyphenate navigator with star as a star navigator, because that's really what it means. You see. So all that you desire men should do for you, you should also do for them. For this is the pure shelter for all of the true star navigators. We want to go back home, navigate back to the mother star, where we belong, to the light. Okay, so that's one, and I got one more. It's really opening up. I can't get over it, Ninja. After all these years of study, and now I've got several more copies that I've got to read of the most recent from the Aramaic. It's like I'm reading it in a deeper way than I've ever could have imagined. It's just I'm absolutely stunned by the continual unfolding that see, it never ends. That Fibonacci, see, it continues. It will always unfold. You never can know it all, and we are always at the beginning.
Yeah.
No matter how big your sunrise or your horizon gets, you're always at the beginning. It's the great mystery.
And it doesn't matter how many times you look at something, you see something different with as you're learning.
Yeah. Absolutely. So here I am in John. Y'all will know John, the Gospel of John, Star Message of Light of John, in 439. Let me find it. 439. Okay, so I don't even remember what it is. Let me find it here. Okay, he could tell me anything. All right. Another example of how, for some reason, people miss it, and even these translators, and everybody across the board has repeated the misstatement over and over and over, and it's so simple. It's so simple, but yet we're so hard bent on doing what we might consider an accurate translation or transliteration that still we can't even think straight. And when we have to put logic to something because something's not maybe been mistranslated from the Greek or from the most ancient Aramaic documents we have, because we have no originals. So when the Samaritan was at the well and she met Yeshua, they had a discussion. And then at the end of the discussion, it goes like this. And many Samaritans from the city followed in him, not believed in him, but followed in him, because of the word that the Aishaphai, the woman, who had testified that he told me everything I have ever done. Well, let's ask the question. Did he tell her everything that she ever did in her life? Did he do that?
No.
Could he do that? No. No, because he'd have to be there for a year to tell her everything she'd done, right? I mean, that's a big story.
Yep.
So what did she really say? What she would have said was, I'll read it again, and many Samaritans from the city followed in him because of the Aishavor, the word that the Aishaphai, the woman who had testified that he could tell me anything that I have ever done. He could tell me anything that I have ever done, you see?
That makes more sense. Yeah.
He said I had five husbands. Boy, could he tell me anything? You know, how did he know that?
Yeah.
So that's all she needed to hear, you know? And so she already knew, because he knew who he was, you know, she knew who he was, that he must be the real one. So she said, go come meet someone that could tell me anything I have ever done. And yet nobody has translated that simple statement correctly. It's amazing.
Well, Desert, you know what? I've been, you know, the link that you sent me a link. It was one of the first ones you sent me, I think. And it was the Gospel of John, a 3-hour long movie. So I'm still, you know, that I'm still trying to get into a routine and do the things I need to do regularly. And some days it's just impossible with Mum. So I make sure that if everything else fails, I make sure that the last thing I do is put that movie on. Because it's so long, I watch a little bit before I go to sleep each night.
Yeah.
And so, so the woman in the well is fresh in my mind at the moment. And where was I going with this? Desert? There was a wow, and it's
the proper translation, maybe, or the
just that I noticed. I noticed that when I did notice it. When she.
In other words, it struck you as funny.
I noticed what Yeshua said to her, and how she went and said that he told me everything I'd ever done.
Everything I've ever done.
Yeah. It was. I noticed that, but I just thought, okay, well, it's a YouTube movie. There's going to be bits that don't make sense. Yeah.
It struck you, and you're not even a translator, so there you go.
There you go.
Sometimes we get so complicated in our own makeup, you know, of our, like as a translator, that we can't even see the most simple correction, you know, and it's just an enigma. I think remember, these people that are doing these translations are still under mind control and under the spell, because they woke up to a science which is called, you know, diction, but yet at the same time they're still bought up into false ideas and conceptions that have been running their life from the beginning. So they're good at what they do, but yet they have not been enlightened, because if they were enlightened, then they would have got the whole picture.
Yeah. Well, it took until. Sorry.
The scripture says the truth is not a part of any lie.
Yeah.
That's finding a truth.
Yeah. Well, I just realised it. It wasn't until you said that. See, I just noticed. All I noticed was that it didn't sound right. But it wasn't until you made the correction that I actually saw it. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, translator. Thank you, code breaker, translator, Desert.
Oh, yeah. So I have a few cards here. I'll wind down our program today with some words, so we can pick up the theme again on the that we were following, next time. But I think to give a little example of what this transliteration project is about, so people might consider a handout, or a help out, because that's all we need is a help out. That's what we need. We're being persecuted by the Freemasons here in Millersburg, Ohio, and shame on them.
Yes.
For being so wicked, but that's they're the scapegoat. They love the goat. Actually, they love Baphomet Moped, and so good for them. They got the reward. It'll be dirt, and but those who follow the light, where they claim the light, but they're a phony light, Luciferian light. Those who want to follow the light can transcend and will transcend, and I hope that some of the good guys that are in Freemasonry that have figured something out is very wrong about it will come out and not be a part of it anymore. That would be the best thing they could ever do. Don't support the beast, But the very first word in our scriptures, or Schultes, which is the word for scripture, Schultes, where we hear the word sutures. Sutures is what ties everything together, and those are the Schultes, the sutures, and those are the scriptures. Same word. That's how it goes back.
Wow, that's a medical term as well, and we know what the medical industry and we know what the medical industry is all about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sutures, right.
Yeah.
And, same word. So this is just how they evolve for time, but still we can see that there's a controlling hand that allows these terms to stay with us because they know the meaning of these words, and that's why when we start making these connections, like turbine engine is nothing other than turbine. A turbine that somebody wrapped around their head is a turbine. Today in a jet engine, or the mag wheel is at the center, and so a magi is at the center of everything. He sees everything because he is centered. So those are two examples. I know I repeat these things periodically, but this is also how they did their mind control, right? By repeating things over and over.
Yeah. We've got to
program by repeating true, sensible connections that I've been making all my life, that people can start making for themselves once they get the rhythm, they get the idea that it's in their face, and they can see and read things for themselves and be set free. So the very first word in Genesis, and Genesis is a misnomer, although it does imply syzygy and also generations. The generations, so like a genealogy. Here's what the book of Genesis is in that sense. The book of Yashar or Jasher is the big story behind the story, and all the first 5 books of Moshe-Ul, and Moses didn't write those 5 books. He may have written some of the content in there, and the poem and song or whatever, but Moshe-Ul means to be drawn from the cosmic waters, and so people are misreading the title that he was given, and those 5 books were put together in Babylon by Ezra, the high priest, because they had lost all their library, their citadel, their temple. They lost it all, and they had to regroup, and they used fragmented writings from the northern tribe and also the southern tribe, the tribe of Judah, to bring back their scriptures. So they used fragments, and so that's what, in particular, the first 5 books of Moshe are. They are fragments of the Y text or the J text, or what's called the Yahwistic text, which includes Yahweh, and then also the northern drafts and also other fragments. So it's and this is all, again, an open secret that anybody could research to find out, but the propagation of the big lie prevails. Oh, Moses wrote the 5 books, Okay, he wrote about his death then too, I guess, in there, because they tell us how he died in the end, again, it's so simple for people to just not be able to think, to learn something, and to unravel a mystery is a little challenging when the lies are so great. They prevail. So So the very first word in the scriptures is what the book is called. And we're given the word better ship and better ship, but it's the B is a corruption of the V, and it's Be. It's Be'er Shaf. And in one sense, it means the way of the royal eye's breath of light. So the very first word out the gate is saying, this is the way of the royal eye's breath of light. What is the way? The entire story we're about to read of creation, the entire saga of mankind, the way of the royal eye's breath of light. And what it said in verse 3, chapter 1 of Better-shet, and the breath and the spirit said spirit, but it's the breath. The breath moved upon the cosmic waters and breathed into a star, and let there be light, and there was light, and there is light. You see? So,
wow.
So Better-shet, the way. The way is the very first word. And what were they called? The people of the way. Right? The people of the way. That's the first word of the very entire collection of books. And then another one is in the one Aramaic that came out of Israel, pseudo-Israel, is they're using for the apostles Talmudim, and also the disciples. But I knew part of the word was Mathaim, but then I saw the other part when they're trying to do Talmudim, because I know these people are real scholars, and they were really doing a great job in this one English translation of the Peshitta that came out of the East. And so it's Talmudim. If you want to spell it, you can type it in the chat for everybody.
Yeah, okay. Yep, ready to go.
All right. It's T-A-O.
Hang on, I can't hear you. Oh, what did I do? Whoops. It's all good.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I can't hear you clearly, like your D's and your V's and...
All right.
So...
Well, it's T-O. Tom, Alan,
T.
Oscar.
Okay. T. Sorry, I was busy giggling. T. Does it?
T-A-O apostrophe.
Yep.
M-A-T-H as in math, like you're a mathematician.
M-A-T-H. Yep.
A-Y-M. Alan Yankee. It's
A-Y-M?
Spell it back to me. A-Y-M. Spell it back to me.
T-A-O apostrophe M-A-T-H-A-Y-M.
That's correct. You can put it in the chat. And that's Talmudim. Tal means the end, and math means truth. You want to talk about math next time? Well, math means truth. And that's so
wow.
We see it in the name Methuselah, because there's a story in his name. Mathul, he could see the truth. Mathul, the owl, Shelah, of peace. And so Talmudim literally means the truth at the end for the many. The truth at the end for the many. That's one literal sense of that word. So what were the followers? They were truth seekers, and so they were called the Talmudim. These are the words that they hid from us, not Talmudim, which is more reflective on the Talmud. But the word Talmud, you see, is just a cover for a book. We get a negative thoughts about the Talmud because we know it's a wicked book, but there's nothing evil by the name. Just like owls are not bad, you know.
Yeah.
Owls get a bad rap, but Talmudim is a corrupted form of the original word, which is Talmudim, and it means truth seekers, those who are seeking the light. And so that's what the followers were, who were called disciples. They were truth seekers, and the word is not disciple, it is Talmudim. So I just want to share that.
Thank you, Desert. I'm just looking at the I don't pronounce it like you do. The start of the word, and have now realised that that's been around since the beginning. I can't remember the other word with it. You know that recording, Desert, that has Teo in it. There's another word, and I can't think of it. But that's another. Sorry.
Aleph and Tau, the Aleph and the Tau, the Alpha and Omega. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a recording, and it's a very long one, and it's another thing that I listen to if I don't have time to do anything else on a particular day. I'll listen to that, or I'll watch the Gospel of John, one or the other.
Are you saying it's one of the lost books? Is it one of the lost books?
No. It's like a trying to think.
Well,
it's like a.
If you think of it, just mention it. But we'll put it down here. We're over time now. So
I want to look it up, but I don't want to touch anything. Yeah.
All right. So let's cap off the program, and I've got more cards here, but I'm not going to go any further on my voice. I'm starting with my voice. We have to wind it down. So I appreciate the opportunity to do the program with you, and I hope that some of these Shavors, the original for word, strike people as being worth their time and effort to research.
Yeah.
Tune into the prior broadcast I did on my YouTube channel, which is the Real Public Radio. Oh no, I can do sometimes. The Forbidden History series, 4 words. The Forbidden History series, 4 words, and started June 21st. I have other productions prior to that. The very first 10 broadcasts I did with Dr. Lorraine Hurley, I posted them there, and there's an earful right there. And then June 21st of this year, 2018, I started a premiere edition for the Forbidden History series. It took me 2 years really to ramp up with no money and no technical help, and I had to go through 4 different people just to learn how to do this stuff. And so it's a struggle, when you do everything by the gifts of others and donations, and you're being persecuted at the same time and taken for the little you have. So, but anyway, the first 2 weeks, starting June 21st, I talked about more stuff that nobody else is talking about, and so I highly recommend getting that primer and then just go down the trail.
Yeah.
I used to call it the Lost Phoenician Trail, but just let's see where it goes, because you'll be seeing things in a new light, and we have to be enlightened. We're not going to go into the eternal realm through ignorance. There's a transformation of being and a state of being that is beyond our wildest comprehension, but it's in the scriptures. We got to read it, got to see and read it for ourselves and get the picture. There's the whole thing about being naked in this world when we're born. Unlike all other creatures, they've got feathers and fur. We are born naked, showing that we are of another nature. We have to put something on, unlike all other creatures, to show that we are seed of light. And the fact that we have to put something on to cover our nakedness is evidence that there's something left that we have to put on, and that is the great breath of the wind and fire, the Holy Spirit. That is what is remaining to cover our nakedness. It is the garment of light. The garment of light will shield us from that nakedness. And there's the word snake in naked. Naked.
Wow.
Like
I never saw that one.
Shirt and pants. We got to put the serpent on. They want us to put the serpent on and keep it on, and not to see that we're the serpent. It's naked.
Wow, you come up with a new one every single time, Desert. There's just so much to discover. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah. Yeah, but you see, nature speaks.
Yeah.
My point is, you can see the metaphors and symbols are all telling a story, just like reading a book, right?
Yeah. Like I can see it all, but the way that you've been given a gift, the way you put it all together, and Yeah, and explain it.
That's
And
so we don't forget.
yeah.
That's so we don't forget. You can't, when you get the picture, you don't forget.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I know you wanting to wind it up, so I'll let you go. As much as I want to keep going, it is 3 a.m. here. So
Yeah, well, we got to perfect the 9 o'clock appointment with that.
Yes,
I don't know
we do.
what your technology is going through, but for me, when I start my program, all I have to do is click one button on OBS, and I'm streaming. So I don't know, what your technology is happening with you, but I set it up earlier in the day, just throw a new thumbnail there. Or sometimes I just leave it, and then I just set the time. The only thing I got left to go is when it's time, I hit start, and I'm streaming. I never have any technical problems, so I don't know why you do. I don't know what's different about your OBS system than mine. Why?
I don't know either. I don't know either. Because I had it all set up, ready to go, and it just kept
if I ever get
disconnecting.
If I ever get set up again with my computer, I will certainly let you watch what I do, and maybe you'll have something to compare with them.
Excellent. Thank you. that would be fantastic. Right. Guys, please donate so Desert can get a computer and yeah. Oh, that'd be so cool. But yeah, I know I've already told you this, but I want you to know that I am humbled by this experience and amazed and grateful that I can help you continue broadcasting because this is the most important message in the world. So thank you, Desert. Thank you, Desert-Owl.
Most important message in the universe, I think, Ninja, right?
Yes, we'll go with that as well. Yes, definitely.
The gospel is the star message of enlightenment. I was saying all along the star message of light, and I realized I wasn't saying it correctly. It is the star message of enlightenment. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sure. All right, and so we'll look forward to being with you again, giving notice, if you will, and thank you, and be well down there. We're all on the same sinking ship here, and all dealing with the same issues. So breathe carefully. I used to tell people to breathe deep. Now I say breathe carefully. Okay, and get those masks, and I appreciate it if you can get me one as well. Maybe one or two if possible. Okay.
Yeah, I'll organise it. I'll organise it for you and see if there's any other colours apart from black.
Designer. Surgical mask. That's what I always wanted. Okay.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, Ninja.
Yeah, I will. I'll give you a call in the morning. Tomorrow, my time. Yeah.
And all the best to everybody out there on the stream, and I hope to talk again real soon. Peace.
Okay. They all say thank you, and sending light. All right. See you, Desert.
All right. Bye.
See ya. Okay, that was Desert-Owl. Some very interesting stuff there tonight. I was wowed, transfixed with what he had to say. So anyway, we'll wind it down. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We're going to keep going for as long as we can. As regular as we can. I need this as much as anyone. I'm learning from scratch, not being familiar with any scripture, pretty much. Before I discovered Desert's YouTube channel. So yeah, thank you very much to Desert-Owl. Thanks, guys. Love and light always. And I'm still figuring this out. Just got to coordinate some music without stuffing anything up. We might go with this one. We'll play some flute music. Anyway, see you guys. Love you. Be safe.